Hello, welcome. My name's Michelle Darby, and here we are going live with a little bit of a impromptu cook along. So I'm going to be showing you the oatmeal protein cookies that I'm experimenting with. So I thought, why not do that live and show you all what that can look like. So this is a recipe that was already in Cookidoo. So once again, hi, my name's Michelle Darby, Thermomix consultant in Australia, and I, otherwise known as Lady Thermomix a lot. I like to go on live and share recipes and cooking techniques to help your Thermomix journey, or show you what a Thermomix looks like if you haven't seen one before. So today is an impromptu live cooking experience because, as I said, I want to try out this recipe because I've been trying these other cookies that I've purchased, and I've wanted to see if I can adapt a recipe to make something similar so that I can save money and make them myself and add extra protein into them. So the original recipe was in Cookidoo, and it was oatmeal sultana cookies, I believe. So I have adapted that particular recipe, which you can do in Thermomix in the Cookidoo. So that's something that I can highlight to you if you'd like to know more about that. And I will show you some of the current offers at the moment as well. So the recipe is in here. So if this all works out, if this recipe works out, I'm happy to share this with you. I've got another screen here, so I'll just pop that up if there's anybody that pops on and wants to comment or ask questions. I might be able to see that and answer to those. Right, so let's begin. So I've popped it in there. The image that's in there is the current image that was used for this recipe because I haven't made this before. I haven't got an image. So the end result of these particular cookies will have to be displayed later. So I'll also put a link to my YouTube channel, which is something that you can have a look at as well. So I'll put most of my videos in there. So we're going to begin. So this recipe also, I had to adjust into the metric measurements. So we're going to begin. So we're going to go with the start menu. So this tells you that I have imported this recipe, so it hasn't been tested before, and it will look slightly different to the other recipes, but we'll do the best we can and see as we learn as we go along together. So I've already preheated my oven to 180 degrees. I've got trays ready with some grease-proof paper on that, and so we're going to go next. Lid's already open, and we're going to start popping in our ingredients. So when it comes to this, it's telling us that I've got 130 grams of butter diced, but I've decided to use Nutritious and see how that works. So not everybody likes Nutritious. If you don't like that, you can certainly use standard butter. Always makes it better with butter, definitely. So that's going to tear, it's on 1 gram at the moment, so there we go. So we're going to put in the 130 grams of butter. So the Nutritious is lower in fat and cholesterol, so that's why I was trying to use that one. It was recommended to me for my personal journey on health. I got this rather large one at Costco. Oh, we got double the paper in that. So I'm going to keep on adding this in. Ooh. So it measures it, as you can see, it measures every part that I put in 1 gram increments. 130, we're nearly there. So as I said, this is going to be an experiment, and we're way over. So I'm going to take some of that out, half of that. My gosh, the coordination's a bit off. 134. 35. So I'm not going to worry too much about taking any extra out of that because we'll see how that works. Put that to the side, and so I'm going to tick that I have completed that one. The next is we're going to go caster sugar. So I am substituting caster sugar with equal. So I'm going to, it'll be close to, I haven't done much cooking with the equal of late, but it's supposed to It's going to be a lot lighter in weight. So I think I've also reduced some of this sugar too. So you can put in, that's when you're making your own recipe, you can also adjust how much sugar goes in. I'm hoping this is the one because it looks like it's missing parts to what I had put in. So I must have, yeah. Anyway, we'll adjust that as we go along. So I'm putting less than half of that in. So it does say brown sugar as well. So I'm just going to go up to 130 and that's it. I'm not going to add any more sugar. So I'm going to tick that and I'm going to tick that. It's asking for 1.5, 1 3/4 eggs. We're going to be putting in 2. Because I don't know how anybody tends to get 1/3 of an egg. I'm going to pull my phone up to make sure that I watch the rest of the ingredients in this because I did make further adjustments to the recipe, but this one hasn't saved when I added the wrong one in. So that's 2 eggs, only because I know this because I've just done it only a few moments ago. So I'm going to tick that. We're going to add some vanilla sugar. So I'm not going to add any more sugar. I'm going to add a little bit more of vanilla. Just vanilla extract is what I'm going to be using. So you can see that there. I'm just going to eyeball that. A little bit of that in. Ticking that. And then now we're going to pop our lid on and blend that together. So none of those parts change. So it's going to be for 2 minutes and 10 seconds on speed 3. Then I'm going to pull up my phone for the rest of the ingredients. Clear my workstation off. Keep it clean. So I've got all of that work area. So when you make cookies, you always cream it. So making sure that you get a lovely creamy consistency. It usually changes in colour when you've got regular butter, and then you can that impacts the texture of the cookie. All right, so go to where I was. Yep, so I've got my recipe there just to double check all of the bits that I was adding in to make sure that that stays the same. Keep it over to the side here, just so I can check that when I need to. And so, as I mentioned, this will be an interesting experiment to see how it all goes. So I would love to hear if you enjoy this recipe at the end, and if you give it a go, I'd love to hear how it turns out for you and what you'd like to know more about cooking, what sort of things you'd like to see. Or maybe we can do that another time for you and find out what you'd like to cook. So as I mentioned, I'm going to pop up in the other screen. So my computer in front of me here is where I change between the screens. So I'm popping up there the current offer that I showed on the very first screen. So we've got the TM7 second bowl bundle. So for this month until the 31st, if you purchase your TM7, you have the opportunity of, for $199, you can get a second bowl, which is amazing. I use second bowls when I had my TM6. I haven't got a second bowl for mine yet, but that is definitely something that I would use. So on your checkout, you would be adding that to your basket. So that's saving you an extra $230. And then there's the stress-free cooking, interest-free finance. So reach out if you want to find out about that. Okay, so here we are. That's just finished doing its thing. We're going to tick that to see that that's finished its, we're happy with that. So we're going to look at that. Now it does look slightly different to any other blended recipe. You can see that in the top. So if you tend to know what a cream looks like when you've blended your butter, it looks different to that. And as I said, I'm fully aware of the fact that it's because I have added nutlets. So we're going to see, and the sugar content was different as well. So We will see as we go. So we're going to tick, we've done that, and we're going to go next. So we're now going to add the oats and the flour. It says raisins, I forgot to take that out. And then bicarb soda, baking powder, salt, and then it's going to bring it together in a dough. So this is where I may need to modify things slightly. So first off, we're going to go with the flour. We haven't changed any of the amounts of that. So just plain flour, 190 grams. In and around the blades. Try not to touch the sides because your scales are in the feet, and when you touch it, it does impact the scale. So we just need to be mindful of that. Oh, and then I've just tipped flour everywhere. We're a little bit over. I'll tick that. I've done that. Who else is a messy cook? I don't mean to be. I really try very hard not to be. I think I try and move too fast. I think that's my problem. All right, so I've got to tear that, and then now we're going to do the 240 of rolled oats. Nice oats in there. That's a lot of oats. There we go. We'll tick that next. And then we're going to skip the raisins because we're not adding those. So I'm just going to tick that because I won't be adding that. I've decided I don't want them. Then I'm adding cocoa in mine as well, and I'm adding protein powder and some milk. So they're the extra bits that are going to be added in here that are outside of this. So where's my teaspoon? We want 2/3 of a tablespoon. That's interesting. Of bicarbonate of soda. That's a lot, isn't it? So I'm not going to put that much in. I don't like the bicarb taste. So I'm going to be, I'll show you how much. I guess it's probably, maybe we'll use that one. We'll go half a tablespoon. I do not want any more than that in there. So half a tablespoon. So I might adjust that in the recipe when I have a look at that when I go back to it. So at least I'll have this video as evidence to say that I'm using the half a tablespoon. Oh my God, it's teaspoon, not tablespoon. No wonder. Oh well, we've got too much in there. A teaspoon. See if I can scrape out the top. I thought that was too much. Yikes. That'll make it. You'll be able to taste that. Oh well, we'll see what happens there. Couple of these in there. I'm so glad it's looking at it side on. It's very hard. So this is what happens when you haven't cooked a recipe before. The next one is the baking powder. Same thing. It's supposed to be the same amount. So maybe we'll try and do a little less than half the tablespoon. And then we want some salt. I'm just going to get some standard salt. We might use this one up here. And we'll just put a little bit of that in there. Then I'm going to go back to I've added all that in. So I want cocoa, and I've got to get this out of the way. Wow, I can't believe I've put in extra. Not reading the recipe properly. All right, so go back to this one where I've got my recipe written down in here. So we're going to be putting in 1 tablespoon of protein powder. The one I tend to use is this one that's got collagen in it. So this is my particular go-to one. So I can get this. Oh, can't see that very well. Trying to make you see that there. This one you can get from the Cost Price supplement store. So you can blend this in with lots of cooking items, and it's got collagen in it. So that's why I like to use that. So I'm adding 1 tablespoon, 1 scoop of that, whatever that might be, and that will dry it out. So I'm going to have to substitute that with some more liquid. So that's where the butter was in there, and I'm adding a little bit more milk. 30 grams of milk I'm going to add in. So I'm going to tear that and put in some milk. I didn't get that out. $30 grams. I've got to go back to my screen. I haven't seen if anybody's been commenting yet. No, that's all right. 30 grams. That'll go up pretty quickly. And then I can adjust that. Oh, went over. I can adjust that to once I see that consistency. And then how much cocoa? I'm going to put in 30. Might put in about see how we go. I'll see what it looks like. All right, 4 heaped teaspoons. Put that to the side. So I'm going to keep the milk there, as I said. Okay, so next we want to do 16 seconds. We're going to bring that all together, and hopefully it's going to look like it's meant to. Bringing it back in together as a dough. I'm going to pop my butter away. All right, we can always repeat that. So I'm going to lift the lid and see what that looks like. That has not brought that all in together. So I'm going to stir it around a little bit, and then I'm going to repeat it. I think it smells nice anyway. I'm actually going to increase the time. That's definitely nowhere near done. That's sounding better. So it's going back. I can hear the blades reversing. So we'll have a look what this comes up as next time when I take the lid off. Yep, we're still going to go more. Repeat that. And then we'll start getting these ready. Already made a mess here. And getting them ready to pop into our oven. There we go. That's starting to look better. I do like the look of that chocolate in there. So that's looking quite nice. So you can see. So now we're going to, I like the consistency of that. It's going to be thick. Smells like yummy. I'm going to put my milk away because I think I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to get my spoon. So you can make these as large or as small as you want. So bear with me while I take that off and move to the side. Bring that back in here. Bring my trays further forward. And you could, if you wanted to, make them large or small. So tipping it out onto a tray is another way, or we could get our spoon that we used earlier, it's a plastic one, and scoop it onto your tray. So that's what's going to take the time, popping these all out. Other than that, your Thermomix did all of that work, blending it all together for you again. And once I refine this recipe, the recipe is kept there, and then you can go to it every time you need to find that cookie that you like. As I said, this is my protein one. So when you're feeling like that sugar hit, but you also want to be good as well, this is your go-to option. So when it comes time to cooking these, I'm going to go back to the recipe and have a look and see what it tells me. So I'm going to tick that I've done that and go next. So now it says use 1 to 2 heaped tablespoons per cookie and roll them into balls for 5 centimeters apart and then bake for 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to get all of these out first and see how many I get and whether I need to roll them into a ball. And see how that goes. So if you'd like to have a demonstration, so as I'm going to flick this into, lean forward, I'm going to go to the other screen and show you the other offers there. So while I'm getting these ready, have a look at that screen and see that we have the wonderful Thermomix server. That's the 2.7 litre thermo server. That's the new one, Thermomix server. If you host a demonstration this month, you can do them with me live on Facebook with some friends, or you can have it in person if you're local and you have 2 or more guests outside of your house that would be interested to hear how a Thermomix works, what it looks like, what the TM7's like, have questions that they want to ask. We can set that up for you, and then if you qualify for that in that period of time and following those instructions, then you will have the thermo server in your kitchen. And I use mine all the time to keep things warm, or you can also keep things cold. So it is a fabulous opportunity this month. So reach out to me if you'd like to know and set one up, or if you want to know more about that, we can make that happen for you. And I've got the menu matrix up there as well, so you can see that, and all the bits and pieces of the host reward. So I'm going to go back to our main screen and I'll bring it back up for you. I'm nearly at the point of bringing these all together. So I think I doubled the recipe or increased it. So that's another thing that you can do. You can increase the size of your recipes, not all of them, but the majority of them. There's a lot on there that you can. So modify whether you want a smaller mix that you particularly want to make this time, or you need to increase it because you've got more people coming to get dinner, or there's more people in your family. That's another option for you as well. So I'll finish these off, pop them in the oven, and as I said, I will be then showing you at the end. This will take 15 minutes to cook, but I don't have 15 minutes of more conversation at this point. So I think it is best for you that I will come back and show you what these cookies look like, and we can have a conversation about that if you would like the recipe. If I think it's a success, I'm happy to share that recipe with you, and then we can talk more things Thermomix together and make sure that you get the most out of your Thermomix, because I've heard stories where people just are not using their Thermomix enough. So I use mine just about every day. I don't use it for everything, but for me it certainly makes a big difference in my life. It reduces the amount of washing I'm doing, it reduces the stress, and it saves money and time for me. So those are the things that I can highlight for me personally that's made a difference in my life, having the Thermomix, and I would love to see you have that same opportunity that makes a difference for you. Okay, so I'm going to finish up now. I've got all of that out, and you can see how yummy and delicious that looks with all of those good items in there. Popping it up there for a moment for you to see, and then they're going in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes, depending on this. We might have to see how they go. I might roll these a little bit neater as well. So thanks for joining me on this impromptu little cook along with my lovely protein oat cookie. So have a great day and see you later.